Hey there, it's Michael here, and in this video I want to bring you 5 lessons from this book, 12 and a Half by Gary Vaynerchuk. If you don't know Gary, he is a purebred entrepreneur. He's a multiple New York Times best-selling author. He runs multiple businesses, all very successful. He is an influencer with multiple millions of followers online. And on top of that, he is still just one of the most humble, one of the most kindest people you will ever find around. And the wisdom this guy has, it is so profound. And so what I want to do is cover 5 of the elements from this book. And this book, 12 and a Half, by the way, go get it on Amazon or Audible or your local bookstore, wherever you get your books from. Get this book. It can be a real game changer, not just for business, where it was intentionally written for, but also for your personal life. I can highly recommend this book. So the 12 and a Half are 12 emotional ingredients for success in life and business. And the half comes from Gary's kind candor, as he likes to call it. So it is his half because he hasn't really fully mastered that. And so here's the thing, whenever I'm bringing up these things and whenever you read this book, think about, am I competent in this area? Am I not so competent? Where do I rank from a 1 to a 10? And then as you move throughout your life, try to bring up your 4s to 6s and double down on your 7s, 8s and 9s to make them a 10 out of 10, right? Improvement is what this is all about. For you to become the best version of yourself. So let's dive right into it with the number 1 concept for me. And that is self-awareness. I would never actually be where I am today if I didn't have that. And so really, with self-awareness, I think I'm in the top 10% of people. I know who I am, where my strengths are, where my weaknesses are. Right? So many people are like, oh yeah, either deluded, like, oh yeah, I can do anything. Or they just don't have a clue, right? You ask them, what do you really want to get out of life? What is important to you? What are your core values? And people are like, people just don't know. They have so little sense of self. So the first thing that you really need is to take that good, honest look in the mirror at the person you see there. Because if you don't know who you are, what you want, what you stand for, all of those things, it's not going to work out very well. And so one of the key things that really got me there was that I knew, you know what? This is for me. This is not for me. And if you can make that distinction, you can spend your time focusing on what matters to you, where your strengths are, instead of just doing what your mom or your parents or your friends or the counselor at school told you to do. Right? If you have this self-awareness to be like, you know what? That's all good advice, but you are not me. I know myself, and this is the path for me, right? If you have that kind of awareness, you will go further than almost anybody else. So the next thing on the list here that I want to talk about is accountability. And not the kind that you hear people talk about in personal development where it's like, oh yeah, get this other person here to whip you in shape, to get you accountable, to make sure that you follow through. This is accountability from you to you. And so what that means is, if I say I'm going to go to the gym tomorrow, I make sure I go to the fucking gym. That is the key concept here. And trust me, it was not something that was ingrained in me. I didn't know what confidence was, what discipline was, until I was like in my late teens or early 20s even. I just didn't know what it was. I had zero discipline. None. Nothing. Nada. Zilch. Like nothing at all. I had to build that from the ground up. And so that's where self-awareness comes in. I realized, like, you know what? I have been spinning my wheels for years because I couldn't get myself to do the difficult things whenever time required it of me. Right? It's one thing to make progress towards that goal when you're feeling motivated, when you feel inspired. But if you only make progress when you're feeling motivated and you're feeling inspired, you will work like once in 20 times. whereas discipline will make you do the other 19 times. So it is truly staying congruent with who you say you want to be. And by the way, if you are fine where you are in life, great. Give this video a quick thumbs up and be cool with it. You're done, right? But if you're not where you want to be in life, then you have to be like, okay, this is my focus here. This is where I'm going to do. This is the person I want to become. And then hold yourself accountable for doing the things that life requires of you. Do the things that the person you want to become would do. And here's the great thing when you have that accountability to yourself. When you say, I'm going to do this, I'm going to go to the gym, I'm going to read, I'm going to write a book, I'm going to write a blog. And then you actually do it on the other hand, you go to the gym, you read, you write, you create a video like this, if that's your goal, right? The more you do that, the more you have congruence between your actions and your words, the higher your self-esteem is going to be. Because you're like, you know what? I can trust myself. I know that when I say I'm going to do X, I'm fucking going to do X, right? That is such a crucial element here. So very powerful. And here's the thing. It's so easy when it comes to accountability to pass blame. Oh yeah, I'm not where I want to be because, my boss won't let me get ahead. Guess what? You chose to get to this job. You chose this boss. And if you don't like it, you can go over here to this other company. Maybe you can start a side hustle on the side, right? Maybe you can just switch to another position within the company, right? There are always things that you can do. And with this, it's not in Gary's book, but I like the viewpoint of Tom Bilyeu here on this. And what he says is like, even if a meteor comes crashing down, destroys my house, crushes my wife, that is his responsibility. He chose to live there. And that's just one form of just taking extreme ownership of everything in your life. And the more you do that, the more you say like, hey, I am 100% responsible for the results in my life. Oh my God, things will change. Not 90%, not 99%. Take 100% responsibility for your own life and be like, you know what? I don't like this. I don't like this thing that someone else did. Guess what? It's now my responsibility. I'm going to go around it this way. I'm going to solve it this way. That kind of accountability is crucial if you want to reach your next level in life. So before I go to the third element on the list here, if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel below this video, enable notifications, and give this video a quick thumbs up. And if you haven't already, get this book, 12 and a half. It's truly worth it because this video cannot go over all of the nuggets and the valuable insights that Gary put inside of this book here. So go ahead, pick up that book for yourself because this video is absolutely not a replacement for it. So moving on is the concept of empathy. And let me preface this by saying that I've been bullied in my life. I've made posts on Reddit and literally got someone to say like, hey, go and kill yourself. I've had other posts that I made where people are like, oh yeah, this is the dumbest shit ever, right? And here's the thing. Whenever someone goes out of their way to make someone else feel worse and down about themselves, that is not coming from a positive frame of mind. So here's the thing. Think about it this way. Someone who is genuinely happy, who is loving life, who loves himself, and who is just going through life, just joyous ball of energy. That person will not go out of their way to make other people feel worse about themselves, right? That kind of hate, that kind of negativity, that kind of just scrutinizing everything about someone else, that comes from a dark place mentally from those people. It says more about them than it says about you. That's the key element to realize here. And when I first heard this from Gary, it's like, oh my God, that makes so much sense. So for example, so many people just in high school, for example, they are part of the bullying gang because they don't want to be bullied themselves, right? A lot of the bullies, they're deeply insecure. And so they're like, you know what? If I pick on this other person over here, I won't be the target. I won't be the victim. And my little insecurities won't be exposed, won't be poked at, won't be made fun of. And that is something so prevalent. And that's incredibly important to realize. So realize that if someone is coming down hard on you, oftentimes it is not about you at all. It is about them projecting their insecurities, their fears onto you as a person. And so sometimes it's even well meant, for example. For example, if you are trying to grow to become your best self, which is probably why you're here, right? Some friends and family from around you are like, oh yeah, maybe you don't want to start that business idea or that side hustle. Like, it's risky, it's dangerous. Just stick to this path over here. And that's like, if you succeed at that, while you came from similar experiences and situations as they are, then they don't have an excuse anymore, right? It's easy for people, again, to take no responsibility, to be like, you know what? I wasn't born with a gold fucking spoon in my mouth, so I cannot achieve this, that, or the other thing over there. But then if someone around them who came from a similar background is suddenly doing it, now you are stripping away at their excuses. Now you are exposing their own lack of accountability, their own lack of action, their own lack of, the ambition to go for those goals. And the only reason why people are gonna give you that kind of crap is from those who have given up on their own dreams. You will never experience this kind of hate or people pushing you down from those who are above you. You won't have it. The people who are more successful than you, they will applaud you for being your best self, because they don't have that insecurity within them that if you grow, you're taken away from them. So people, they mean well, but they don't have the same vision. They don't have the same mindset as you do. They don't have the self-awareness because they're not you, right? They don't have the self-awareness of what it means to be you. And so don't take those opinions above your own. Develop that self-awareness, first of all, by just sitting down and thinking about who you really are, what you truly want, how you are wired. The biggest unlock in my life was starting to understand how this thing works, and specifically how I was wired. And so as you have that, now you can have more empathy for those other people. So for example, even when the guy was saying like, hey, you should go kill yourself, I was like, you know what? Hey, I'm sorry to hear you feeling this way and that way. If there's anything I can do, let me know. I'm here to help. Right? How different is that from being like, oh, you're just an asshole, like you're just being mean, just fuck off, right? That is an attitude I could have taken in those moments. But guess what? I realized, partly because of this book, that this guy was in a dark place mentally. And I'm just trying to help. I'm empathetic for the situation he is in. And so that's the key here. Realize it's not about you, it's about them. Be empathetic, right? You don't have to be best friends, but realize that if you can be the bigger man, the bigger woman in that scenario, you will go so much further than by fighting hate with hate. Instead, fight the hate against you with love, with kindness, with empathy. And that is gonna disarm so many people. It's gonna be like, wait, what? And sometimes this can turn a hater into a true fan of yours. Someone who is truly on your side, just by the way you approach things. So for number 4, I want to talk about one of the least sexy things in the world. Patience. You have probably been told, oh yeah, life is short, this, that, and the other thing. Guess what? Life is incredibly long, right? With the way technology is going, you are probably going to live until 100 in good health. And so even if you're 70 years old right now, guess what? You can still chase your dreams. You can still go at it 100% and achieve those things. You can still have that bucket list and write off everything on it. You have that opportunity. You have so much time, it's ridiculous. And by the way, just to be clear, because I know there's someone going to be watching that who's like, well, I don't want to wait until I'm 70 to take action. That's not what I'm saying here, dumbass. I mean, just go at it right now where you are, whether you're 20 or you're 60. Start where you are. Take action. Be ambitious. Go at it 100%. But at the same time, don't expect things tomorrow. There is a real beauty in the combination of ambition and patience. They don't exclude each other. Not at all. They work well together to create a solid foundation for success. Because guess what? For example, with this channel here, I know that I'm not going to see the results from my actions in the next 2 months, 3 months, 6 months, maybe even 12 to 18 or 24 months. It's going to be years before this really takes off, becomes a full-time thing, right? And so with any worthwhile goal, it's going to take you probably a few years longer than you expect it to take in order to get the results that you truly want to get out of it. It's going to take you so much longer. If you can take the action on one side, but at the same time realize, you know what? I am fine with this taking 2 years, 3 years, 5 years longer than I would like it to take. You will win. You will win, period. Because here's the thing. In my life, there have been so many things that I gave up on, where looking back in hindsight, which by the way is always easier, I realized, you know what? I just got this amount of traction. If I stuck with this thing and I wrote it out for like 2 years longer, I would have been so much more successful, right? I realized those things and it's like, oh my God, I shouldn't make this mistake again. And so patience is such a crucial element for success. It is not the opposite of ambition. They complement each other. And so for the last thing, what I want to talk about from this book, 12 and a half, by the way, go get it on Amazon, your local bookstore, get the audio version, whatever it is, go get this book. So the last thing from 12 and a half that I want to talk about is humility. And one of the reasons why I can create a video like this by like 2 takes in total. There's been like maybe 2 cuts in this entire video. And the reason I learned how to do this is because I'm always, and I mean always, looking to learn, always looking to improve. Humility is the unlock to your next level. Because so many people are like, have their ego talking of like, yeah, I'm the greatest, I know all of this shit. Guess what? If you tell yourself, oh yeah, I already know that, you dismiss it. And you rid yourself of the opportunity to grow, to become the better person. You are just literally just shutting yourself off from your next level. It's not that the ego is saying like, oh yeah, I'm so great. And people sometimes confuse it with confidence. But guess what? Confidence comes from the process of growth, of keeping your word, like I said, of being accountable to yourself. But at the same time, knowing that you still have a lot of improvement ahead of you and being okay with that, right? I had the opportunity to be at my lowest of lows, where I couldn't basically go any lower. And that was great. I had to build myself up from the ground, right? I had to be humble of being like, you know what? I suck at social skills. I have no self-esteem. I have no discipline. I have no confidence, not at all. And so I had the humility to be like, you know what? I am down at the bottom, but I can work my way up. I can learn. I can progress. And that humility has stuck with me for basically my entire life from that moment onwards. And that helped me to learn. It helped me to grow. It helped me to become 10 times the person I was even 2 years ago, 3 years ago. Right? If you have humility, you have the opportunity to grow. If you have the ego coming in your way of being like, oh yeah, I already know that. Oh, you know what? I'm just good as I am. Guess what? You are perfect as you are for the life you live today. You are perfectly qualified. But if your goals are bigger, better than what you currently have, you need to grow. You need to have the humility to say like, you know what? If I really wanted to have this goal over here, if I was capable, I would be well on my way. But if you have to realize of like, you know what? If you have that self-awareness of, you know, I'm actually not doing that well. Maybe I'm going this way, kinda. Then you need to have the humility to say like, you know what? I need to learn some new skills. Maybe I need to have some more discipline. Maybe I need to have some more empathy for other people, right? Maybe it's one of those things. I don't know what it is for you, of course. I cannot see you and know your life just from looking at the camera here. But I know if you are not well on your way towards your goals, there is something that is lacking. Having the humility combined with the self-awareness to be like, you know what, this is the thing I need to develop. Now you can take that leap forward in your life. But without humility, without knowing that you have improvement to do, which by the way we all have at all times, without realizing that, you will stay stuck in a hamster wheel. You will stay just walking around going in circles because you have not learned the lesson from the previous experiences, from the previous failures. And so getting that out of the way is your step forward. And with that being said, go ahead, give this video a quick thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and most importantly, get this book 12.5 by Gary Vaynerchuk, because it's gonna help you become the person you truly want to become.